Hello and welcome to Get Focus Millennial Matters, episode 15, Black Writers of San Antonio. I'm your host, Kinyo Laditan. Our organization, Growing Empowered Together, or GET for short, connects the dots between personal experiences and public policy in order to motivate more young people to vote and volunteer in Texas. Today's feature puts the spotlight on the Black Writers of San Antonio organization. The organization was founded in 2017 to provide an inclusive community for Black creatives to write about their personal experiences and observations with candor, hope, and with a commitment to moving forward in a positive direction. Today is a special day for the Black Writers of San Antonio because it marks the beginning of a new collaboration with GET to help Black writers share their important work with a broader audience through television, podcasting, and social media. We'll begin today by talking with Kevin Prince, the new leader of the Black Writers of San Antonio, and Andrea Vocab Sanderson, one of its most esteemed members. Then they'll share some of their work with you today here on the GET stage. Kevin, who also goes by the stage name of Mr.Composition, is a 28-year-old MC, author, poet, and self-proclaimed dabbler of many. Kevin works on GET's all-youth film crew and is also a close friend and colleague of mine. Welcome, Kevin.
All right, thanks for having me.
How's it going? Nice to have you.
Good.
So tell us about the mission of Black Writers of San Antonio organization.
There's not really a lot of representation, especially here in San Antonio, so we want to get the visibility out there.
What are some challenges?
There's a lot of opportunities that we're just not aware of, and so I want to make sure that we're able to get those.
How can writers help each other by being a part of this organization?
You know, there's plenty of things that I don't know that another writer may know, and vice versa. And so just being able to have that collaboration, and plus those resources of if I can't get an editor or pay for one, then there's somebody within the group that, you know, has years of practice as far as with that. So being able to have that kind of family community is with the writers is the main thing.
Cool. How many members are there in the organization now, and what types of different work do the members produce?
So right now, officially, there's going to be about 40 members. The type of work varies from poetry to fiction to nonfiction to script writing. Yeah, it goes all across the board.
Are your members all professional writers with years of experience, or do they have a range of experience levels?
There's going to be a range. So we have people that have never released a book to some that have gotten, you know, recognition on New York Times bestseller, different things like that. So it's gonna vary, and I love that aspect of it because it allows for, you know, the old and the new to be able to meet in the middle ground, to be able to help each other.
What are your goals as the organization's new leader?
Pretty much it is going to be to get to know a lot more of the members. I plan on doing a rollout when it comes to when school starts. Prior to that, I want to be able to just have a couple of just little events where I invite members and members who are or people who are interested in the organization to just come out, and that way I can see what it is that they need, because, you know, with every writer that's in there, some, because of the different levels that they're at, some are going to need editing work or need cover designs, and so I want to get a feel for what people are needing and then be able to create workshops around that.
That's interesting. Tell us more about how you plan to help members interact and share their ideas.
Pretty much the way that I want to do that is with this collaboration with Growing Empowered Together. That way we're able to have as far as a professional presentation, just with us going out there, putting our stuff online. So that would be it.
Awesome. So we understand that leading the Black Writers of San Antonio is a volunteer position. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Why is the mission of the organization so important to you personally that you decided to serve as its volunteer leader?
because I am a Black writer of San Antonio.
Do you also serve your community by being a voter?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What motivates you to want to vote?
Pretty much it's going to be the fact that, you know, with knowing as far as what it is that you're even dealing with, you know, we have this ability, this tool, and that's what I see it as, you know, this tool to be able to, for the greater good or for different demographics of people, be able to speak. You know, for the longest, that was something, you know, our ancestors had fought for, you know, so, you know, not using that particular tool would be disrespectful to them.
All right. Well, congratulations on the publication of your own book called Ideas of Illusion. What is that book about?
So it's a psychological thriller that takes place in the year 2025, actually here in San Antonio. The main character is a Black software developer who creates his own security software that allows for users to go on the internet and use their mobile devices without the government being able to track their what they're doing. And so the NSA basically wants to get this program from him, but he doesn't want to sell it because he's afraid as far as their privacy being taken advantage of. And so it's a kind of tale that allows for the reader to be able to question what is good, you know, what is your ideas of good, and is it really good for, you know, the majority of people or just for your own greater good.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on right now with privacy, Facebook, and social media. So I'm sure you feel like you predicted the future a little bit.
Yes, I do.
So you are also a musician. How is writing lyrics for your songs different than writing a book or a poem?
Actually, the funny thing is that the way that I write, there's not really a difference, because even in my fiction, there's kind of a song element to it as far as how certain themes repeat like a chorus. So to me, the writing of any form is going to be an extension of just how my mind operates in general, which is going to be in this kind of flow of melody and chaos and just fusing it all together.
Thank you for coming in to talk with us today, Kevin, and also for all the great community service that you are doing. Can we see some of your work right now?
Yes.
Composition. Oh my gosh. That's so sick ass, man.
Listen for the sound of the lost cause, scream out with locked jaws. The journey's never ended for the pinned in. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's coming soon. Any day now, any day now, any day now. Yo, it's coming soon. Any day now. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's coming soon. Any day now. These faded thoughts never felt so sober. Riding a detox even when the feeling is closer. Yeah, the feeling is closer. Don't wanna feel when it's over. Yo, my passion is burning. It won't diminish or smolder. Death is booming colder. Dropping toxic in my mud vein. This cold rain feels like fire to the king of pain. Something's coming and I see it through the blurry aim. Keep it moving, moving silence like a hurricane. Not paranoid, just prepping for the things to come. The test of time would decide if I stand or run. Heard it all before. They said change will come. Success or trouble. I'm expecting either one. It's to the point when I sleep, I feel the stage presence. Pray to the heavens, till my lungs are breathless. Watch for the movement, faith in everything I vow. And it's coming soon, any day now. Listen for the sound of the lost cause, scream out with locked jaws. The journey's never ended for the pinned in. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's coming soon, any day now, any day now, any day now. Yo, it's coming soon, any day now. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's coming soon, any day now. The long walk of word stalker, Dr. Jekyll went the high, that came back a monster. Could have been a product of the morning after. Stay channel my anger, the taking that became the taker. No angels on the outfield, but angels on the corner. Cause the devil gets bitter when he sees you doing better. Couple of like minds stay on top like a header. No comedy central, but we stay drawn together. I wouldn't put this much time and effort in a hobby. I'm trying to see the world, I'm trying to move somebody. I'm a prophet, rewriting all the prophecies. J. May some rules, I'm adding some policies. Dreaming with my people, trying to get these fantasies. Riding, making ripples through planets and galaxies. I see where I wanna be and I know how. And it's coming soon, any day now. Listen for the sound of the lost cars. Scream out with locked jaws. The journey's never ended for the pinned in. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's coming soon, any day now, any day now, any day now. Yo, it's coming soon, any day now. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's coming soon, any day now.
Woo! That was awesome. Our second guest is Andrea Sanderson, and she goes by the name of Vocab and is one of the most well-known and well-loved members of the Black Writers of San Antonio organization. She is a true community hero who teaches poetry workshops, mentors, builds up and encourages artists to pursue their art, and gives them platforms to showcase their talent. She's also a member of the band The Foreign Arm, and she sings like an angel. Vocab is a published author who has won numerous awards for her work, most recently the coveted People's Choice Award granted by the Artist Foundation of San Antonio. She's been up on the Get stage before as a musician, and we're delighted to have a chance now to sit down and talk with her today. Vocab.
Hey, Kinyo.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, welcome Vocab.
What's up? Woo.
So what motivated you to start writing, and what keeps you motivated to continue?
I believe my love of people, not wanting to go crazy, you know, and just the yearning to express and connect, because being human is a condition we all have, right? And connection can sometimes be difficult, but art and expression is just like a gateway to open you up to have different conversations, and it kind of draws people to you when you're able to stand somewhere and speak your truth or sing your truth, or even writing, you know, and putting out a book or something like that, you know.
Yeah, definitely. You once wrote, "I do things, lots of things," and that is certainly true. As an artist, do you have an underlying vision or a goal for all the various expressions of your creativity?
I just try to set an example, because, you know, everybody needs to see someone modeling the path that they may want to take. And it's not that I necessarily want to be on a platform doing all this stuff all the time, but somebody needs to show them so that they know that they're capable of doing it. And, you know, that to me, that's the best way to do it, is lead by example. And how can I say, hey, I've got this show and you should come out and perform, if I don't ever perform? And then, you know, it's kind of like it validates who you are when people see you being successful at the things that you do. So that's kind of why I do as much as I do all the time. And there needs to be more people doing it so I can sit down, you know. So I'm always like trying to look for the next person. I'm like, are you serious about this? Do you really want to do this? Okay, well then if a show comes up or something comes up where they need poets or something like that, I can hit you up and, you know, have you come out and do, you know, the event. So.
Right. Speaking of which, you are a co-founder for the popular open mic sessions for poets called Second Verse.
Yes, we're about to be on year 11.
Oh man, that's amazing. What does that event give to writers, and what has been what has that experience given back to you?
Well, several things. So we've been at it, like I said, about 11 years, and it's an open mic for singers, comedians, and writers to come out, and they can read excerpts from their book, they can read their poetry, really anything that they can fit in like a 4 to 5 minute time frame or less. And we also we have a featured artist, and they have a table for vending, and then we also have one additional vendor. So say you have a book that's debuting and coming out, and you want a place where you can, you know, come in and network and read some of your book and even sell there. We allow artists to do that, and we don't ask for any of their money, you know. We just want everyone to have the exposure that they need in a situation where they're exposed to, like, you know, 150 to 200 plus people coming in to listen to them. And people are very receptive, and they do buy merchandise. They really do.
And it's one of the largest in the country, right? As far as poetry open
we're
mics?
pretty big, and we're definitely, the longevity that we have is definitely there. And we've won 2 awards for being best open mic in the nation. So, you know.
Official.
Yeah, we official with it, you know what I'm saying? So it's basically like, people wanna, when they come in and they feature there, they wanna come back and feature. And I think when it comes to venues, as far as them making money from being there, it's lucrative for them as well. They make some of the most money that they ever make. People sell out of merchandise when they come and they feature at Second Verse. And so there's usually a waiting list. And I open the books in the month of June, and I'm gonna book all of 2020. So yeah, I do that. I do Carmen's de la Calle. And I also get, hired to do other special events here in the city and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Sorry for that long answer.
No. We love it here at Get. Get loves to see young, talented, and inspiring people like you get involved in community service work in order to help others. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Appreciate
You've
it.
also led several writing workshops.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about one of those that inspired you as much as it inspired others?
Yeah, the last one that I did was really, it kind of opened my mind up to a lot of things. I was down the street and around the corner at SAC, and we were talking about being in situations that are beyond your control, and coping mechanisms that we have. And sometimes we use coping mechanisms when bad things happen, and we also need them when good things happen, because we can be overwhelmed by both. And so our coping mechanisms can be negative and positive. And I was realizing when I had a time where I opened up the floor to have the youth, because I had middle schoolers, and that's a big transitional time. I mean, it's when you start going through puberty and all that stuff, the kids and stuff. So we were in middle school can be very harsh, and middle school was like a pivotal, life-changing time in my life. And so through the process of teaching them and talking to them about coping mechanisms, I realized, hey, I'm using coping mechanisms to deal with the overwhelming good that's happening in my life, and I need to be present, snap in, and tune in, and start to do the work that I'm called to do even further for the next level, because we all have different levels that we're operating at, and sometimes we're at the next level and we've got to step up to the plate. And so it was really challenging and inspirational for me to talk to them about it and learn from them as they talked,
Yeah. And speaking of stepping up to the plate, voting is another powerful way that people can help others, because it matters which politicians are making public policy decisions for us.
Right.
Are you a voter, Vocab?
I vote.
What motivates you to get out there and vote?
Well, Get actually motivates me to vote. It's been wonderful working with Lauren in this organization, but even before that, my ancestors and people that have come before me. I mean, as an African American, we know the struggles for us to have voting rights. It's one of those ongoing things. I mean, if you think about the amendments to laws that have to be made so we can be considered 100% a whole citizen. And I recently met a woman, and as in recent, I mean Sunday, I met a 92-year-old black woman named Mrs. Skinner. And Nick and I were up in New Braunfels singing. We were singing our song "Freedom."
He's in your band, Nick, right?
Yes, Nick, the Foreign Arm. We're in a band called the Foreign Arm. Hope you look us up. We were up there singing, and we met Mrs. Skinner, a 92-year-old woman, and she hugged me so hard, and she made me cry. She was talking to me about how she marched for women's suffrage rights, and in all over the South, not just women, but black women's suffrage rights. And so it was really powerful to see her, to hear someone speak to me that had went through the process, who understood, who was alive during the times when MLK Jr. and Malcolm X were, alive and fighting for our rights and stuff. And, the struggle is ongoing, and it's not just African Americans. Like, we need to not make everything polarized as black and white. Like, there are people of different marginalized communities who are now fighting for rights. We're in the middle of Pride Month, and so it's like a focus should be shifted from my own individual concerns to everyone, and how can everyone benefit, and what are the politicians that are truly concerned with seeing not only these breaking down of privileges so that everyone can be considered and all of our needs can be met in a society,
Yeah, definitely. Well, congratulations for winning the 2019 People's Choice Grant from the Artist Foundation of San Antonio.
I appreciate it.
And I know I've told you that before, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I hope.
You have. We're good.
So tell us about your winning project called She Tastes Like Music.
Whew, okay. I talk too much, and so here we go, more talking, right? My father is a DJ, and growing up in my house, there were speakers and milk crates of records in every room. My dad was, every time I'd wake up on a Saturday morning, he was making a mixtape of different music. And so pretty much all the big things I've done, like when I did the Bad Mama Jamma mixtape last year, it was a celebration of music, which is where I got these boombox earrings, right? So it's just like, this is a further extension of that, another way to celebrate with an album, the idea of, if you have my mixtape that I put out several years ago, I pay homage to Heavy D, I pay homage to Guru, I pay homage to some other deceased musicians, and this is just another thing. It's like there are musicians living and deceased who have influenced my life, and I can point to different times in my life and think of them. So I have a poem about Prince, I have a poem about Anita Baker, I have poems about just different musicians and their influence on me. And so I'm going to have an album, and then I'm going to have a book with the poems in it, and it's just spoken word pieces and songs that are all about musical influences in my life.
Awesome. So what excites you the most personally about having the opportunity to work on this project?
And just knowing that this project is community fueled.
Yeah.
Like it took an entire community of people to vote for me so that I could be given the funds. And I was going to do the project regardless, like I had already started on the project, but this is just like, you know, I can do it the way I really want to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Very cool. What was the process involved in winning the award?
You have to write a narrative, you have to write a budget, you have to send in sample work.
Yeah.
Then there's a panel of people who, some of the people on the panel, I was like, wow, they're really awesome people, poet laureates and things of that nature, different professors. And then after they vote, they decide who wins the grant. I didn't win the literary category that I went for, but I was nominated to move to a different position, which is the People's Choice. And then there was a season of like almost a month where we had to campaign and ask people to vote for us. Then we went to Art Pace to the rooftop, and they announced the winners, and I was really, really shocked when they called my name, but I was in some ways like ready for that moment. You know? So
that's amazing.
that's what it was.
That's amazing. Becoming a professional artist is notoriously challenging.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt deflated?
Absolutely.
Hopeless, vulnerable, one of those?
All of those things. I was like, I'm gonna give up. I'm not doing this anymore.
So what helped you get back on your feet?
Friends, family, and some prayer. Sometimes you have to get alone in your space, and you have to think of the reasons that motivate you. Sometimes God sends angels to encourage you. You might not have even asked for that encouragement, and sometimes you literally do need to cry for help. You know, but I think the thing about me is I'm passionate about hearing other people be artistic, and so I go out or I'll pick up something, or I'll look up a video, I'll look up something, hear something that just kind of motivates me and says, this is why I do it. I'm teaching all the time. Even when I'm not creating, I'm still teaching. So working for a company like Gemini Inc. or being privately contracted to teach workshops, when I'm in tune with people, when I'm meeting young people, and they're looking at me like, I need some answers, or I really want to do this, I'm like, well, I have to keep modeling that example for them. Which goes back to what I said when you first started talking to me about it. You have to set the example for people, and so that's what kind of keeps me going when I feel like giving up.
What advice would you give to a young artist who is not as far along on their career path as you are right now?
Well, this is something that I workshop about, but also really sit down and think about how you want to be represented through your work. Write out the vision that you have for yourself. Share your vision with people who will speak positively into your life. And then don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And, just, you got to talk to people. You can't think that, someone is going to knock on your door and know that you're writing. You have to put yourself out there. So,
Awesome advice. Your creative work is just as inspiring as you are as a person. Can you perform for us now?
I definitely will.
Awesome.
This piece is called Finding Legacy. I am scales for skin, fins, gills, and tails. but I cannot remove these mermaid limbs from leagues beneath, on grainy ocean floor to surface brim. How do I inhale when oxygen is emulsified in 2 parts hydrogen? I long to shake this watery weight from my lungs, expunge this sodium saturation, but I feel marooned. It's been a daunting task trying to find my leagues at sea. I've been haunted by the legacy of greater that have come before me. They are all exiting to land and walking on bare feet, leaving behind their legs a sea. Wounds of womanhood have rendered me an inept casualty caught in the net of discrepancies. My conch shell cries billow from the depth of my sonar throat. Won't someone rescue and resuscitate this slick reptilian body? Here lately, I've been wanting to walk on water instead of charting these choppy waves delicately. I want you to see me at my best. Be known as Poseidon's triumphant daughter. Wield a pointed trident at my adversaries, or perhaps rise from sea foam as goddess amongst titans. Either way, I long to queenly conquer demons and slay bottom-feeder behemoths, brandishing my golden scepter as I swim in glinting regalia. But there is something about my legs at sea that leaves me longing to stand ashore. It has begun to gnaw away at me, nibbling through my conscience of an oyster bodice. There is this overzealous ache shooting through the space where my toes should be. I keep wiggling, and my feet feel imaginary, and there aren't any legs I see. My frame has turned prune from the soak. I have begun to choke as I fight against the current, attempting to champion a trail by my footsteps and the sweat of my brow. Some days, I feel I don't know how. I paddle stroke after stroke, but the violent undertow pushes me aside like a tiny tugboat, dashing my pride against jagged rocks. I am knocked off course time after time. I am still struggling to find my legs at sea. This desire to achieve has gotten the best of me, become the Moby of my white whale aspirations. The salt in my perspiration has forged its way into my gills, constricting and releasing as part of my respiration. I want to be iron-willed, resilient, as if the spirit of Mamiwata was whirling into my fins, forcing me to emerge from the shoreline and find my place within a landlocked society. Because this anatomy has swam over urchins and crustaceans, awaiting the manifestation of my transient form. I have traversed ocean and river, yearning to be reborn. I can imbibe the scorn of sea legs and learn to navigate my passage. I will embrace the beauty in my silver scales. I will share my siren song with the world and all of my deep blue tales. I now move from mythical mermaid to living legend. I shall step from these 7 salted seas right into my legacy. For greatness lies within me. I have finally learned to breathe as a fish out of water.
Ah, man, I loved that one. You can learn more about GET and the Black Writers of San Antonio organization and find out how to get in touch with us and our talented guests by visiting the sites listed here.
All we want is freedom.